Hi everybody. So we would like to have a first session on the use of SPSS. You can use the SPSS on campus, or you can also download a SPSS student version from the website from the link. Once you open the SPSS, so I'm going to give you one example of having a data set on a bunch of data on the test results of car crash. So we can see this is the SPSS interface. It has two tabs to the bottom. One is called data view and one is called variable view. And if we go to the data view, we can see these are the raw data. It's similar to what you see in like those Excel files. Let's take a look at these data files here, these datas. So it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 columns here. First column is about the car, and second column is about size, which has been labeled by using numbers. Third, fourth, fifth, and seventh are like another bunch of numbers. So a lot of times you may need to understand what exactly these labels represents. Okay, so these are actually the variables. In order for us to understand the variables, we'll need to go to the variable view. So here what you see is these variables in variable view. So let's take a look at the variable view. The first column in the variable view tells you the name of these variables, which is consistent with what we see here on the very top of the data view. So variable name. And it is worth noting that for the variable name, you cannot put space in it if you want to separate two phrases, such as female L and female R. If you put space in between, the SPSS is going to count this as one mistake or one error message. So in order to separate two phrases, you may want to put underscore in between. So that's about variable name. Secondly, for the type of variable, you can always click to the right part of this type, and you can see there is a selection of variable types. We can use numeric or string in this data set. So the first one, which is a car, the type is string, and that means basically we're using a string of phrases for this variable, which is in fact true if you look at this column. Okay, now for size, it is numeric type, and it is numeric type because we're using numbers to talk about the size. However, we want to put an important note here that even though this is numeric type, it doesn't mean size has to be quantitative. Third, fourth, and third to the sixth, we have HIC, chest, female L, female R. All of these are numeric, once again, because you see in the raw data, they are using numbers to represent those. For the widths and decimals, you can always choose to change the decimal, number of decimals, or how long this string is. Next, we want to talk about the column of label. And a lot of times, it's hard for you to understand what exactly this variable is by looking at its name. So you can put some labels, some information on these variables in the column of label. For the label, it is okay if you put space in between. So such as the car, in fact, this is about the car model. Size, this is actually talking about the size of the car. HIC, by reading the label, you know it's about a head injury. Chest, it's about the chest injury as well. Female L, female R is talking about load on the left female and load on the right female during a car crash. Over next, we want to look at the column of values. Okay. You probably have noticed that in the size, the variable size, it has values. So if you take a look at these values, you can see that 1 represents small, 2 represents mid-size, 3 represents large. So what happens is, even though you see these 1, 2, 3 in the variable of size, that tell us actually Honda Civic is a small size, and Honda Accord is medium size, and for example, here we have Lincoln Town that is large sized. So size is actually can be put into different categories: small, medium, and large. So size here is actually a categorical data, even though we're using numerical numbers to represent that in SPSS. Okay, and as of now, that's very basic information we need to know, and for this column it tells you the measure. So I'd like to show you how we can use SPSS to do simple analysis for these variables. When we want to do analysis, we can go to Analyze on the very top, Descriptive Statistics, and go to Frequencies. So what you will be having is you would have the list of these variables in the left box. And if you want to operate on certain variables, you can move it to the right. So suppose I want to know more about the car size, so I can move the car size to the right. As of now, we are just going to do the easiest one. Let's just display frequency tables. Hit OK. Once you hit OK, a output window is going to appear. It's going to tell you the result of your analysis. So it gives us two tables. First, it tells you there are 21 data being considered. Okay, and all of these data are valid. The second table tells you about the car size. Okay, which again, this is about the label of that variable, right? Car size. So you guys remember the number 1 represents small. So there are 7 small cars. We have 7 medium-sized cars and 7 large cars. In total, there are 21 cars in this data set. And each one happens to have 33.3%. And we have 100% of data being considered. So that's the very simple analysis we can do by using SPSS. Okay, over next, we would like to take a look at the website of Slave Voyages. This is going to be the database you'll be using for your SPSS project. So let's just go www.slavevoyages.org. You can find a link on my courses as well. So this website gives you the information about the slave voyages, transatlantic slave trades, which you can use this